Hello? Hello? Okay, perfect. Hello everyone, my name is Tatyana White and I'm your digital host. Welcome to our first segment of the 48 Recap, where I'll be giving you all a recap of our top stories of the week, a sneak peek into stories coming up in our evening newscast today, weekend events you can go check out, and concluding the show with Saturday Snapshots, where you all can submit your photos to the link in the post on our Facebook page from earlier. So this is just kind of like your one-stop shop to catch up on some of the top news stories of the week. So I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend so far, and just a little bit about myself. I recently moved to Huntsville in January from Tallahassee, Florida, and I am one of the digital hosts here at WAFF 48 and a digital content producer as well. Along with hosting the 48 Recap, I also host interviews with amazing people throughout the city of Huntsville and the surrounding areas for our 48 Now digital show, which can all be found on our website and YouTube and Facebook pages. And so I'm so excited to present you all with the latest stories and to connect with you all. Now let's get into the weekend's recap. One of our top stories out of Decatur this past week was the announcement of the new interim Decatur police chief after current police chief Todd Pinion stepped down last Friday. Many community members have been wanting Pinion to step down from his role as police chief since the 2023 shooting death of Steve Perkins by Decatur police. Pinion will now be taking on a different position with the Decatur police as a captain. 48's Callie Neese shares more on the Decatur police chief's decision to step down.
After weeks of pressure from the community and city council in the aftermath of the shooting death of Steve Perkins, Decatur Chief of Police announced on Friday that he will be stepping down. Just a few weeks ago, I sat down with Pinion and he told me he wanted to stay in his position, but the lack of support from the community led him to step down. Pinion said in a statement that this was a tough decision, but with a lack of support from city council, it has become hard to fulfill his role. Pinion claimed that people were saying the city would not move forward if he remained as chief. Though Pinion said it was just an excuse, he thought it was the right move to step down. Mayor Tab Bowling says that he will continue to support Pinion.
I admire his decision. I have a great deal of admiration for Chief Pinion. This was tough on both of us, and there's nothing really that I like about it other than the fact that Chief Pinion sees it as best for the city, and if that's what he believes, then I'm here to support him.
Bowling told me that Pinion will now be taking on a new position as a captain. City officials say that he will be assisting with recruitment as well as polygraph tests for incoming public safety officers. He adds that his experience is needed in their department, and they are excited for him to take on this new role.
So we're thankful for his experience. When police departments across the nation are challenged today for experience, Todd has experience that this department needs in serving as a captain.
Bowling says that Pinion will not be taking a pay cut for this new position and that he will remain as chief of police until an interim chief can be put into place. And that search for the new chief has already begun. Reporting in Decatur, Cali News 48 News, on your side.
On Wednesday, Nadis Carlisle Jr. was named the interim chief of the Decatur Police Department. Carlisle worked for the Decatur Police from 1990 until he retired in 2016. Then he became the chief of police at Alabama A&M before being let go in 2021. Carlisle has been working as a school resource officer in Decatur since the start of the school year, and he now replaces Pinion in this interim role as Decatur's chief of police. 48's Cali News shares more about the new leadership at the Decatur Police Department.
Nadis Carlisle is the newly named interim chief of police here in Decatur. He has a long history in law enforcement and even served as the interim chief of police in Decatur here before.
We didn't know if anyone would want to be here in Decatur, but they do. And we think that we've got the best of the three. We know we do.
Mayor Tab Bowling says the city is lucky to have interim chief Carlisle. He says Carlisle has been with Decatur Police for 26 years on and off. Carlisle retired from Decatur Police Department around 2017, became the chief of police at Alabama A&M University. After about 4 years of service there, he was fired, but it's unclear why. He has most recently worked as a school resource officer, again with Decatur Police Department. Now he's stepping into the role Todd Pinion recently announced he would be stepping away from. Many community members and even city council members have been calling for Pinion to step down after the police shooting death of Steve Perkins. Now that Carlisle is taking his role as chief, he says he needs to earn the trust of the public back.
Law enforcement is more than just enforcing the law. It is about building trust, fostering relationships, and ensuring the safety and well-being of every individual in our city. My vision for this department is one of transparency, accountability, and collaboration.
Pinion will be transitioning into a role as a captain here at DPD. Carlisle says that the two have no ill will against each other, and he looks forward to working with Pinion. Reporting in Decatur, Cali News 48 News, on your side.
Thank you, Callie. Moving over to Marshall County, a 26-year-old Albertsville man is facing rape charges after a minor gave birth last week. The Marshall County Criminal Investigation Division received a report involving a minor who had given birth on February 19th. After investigating the complaint, a felony warrant for first-degree rape was obtained from Manuel Francisco. Francisco was arrested on Tuesday and booked into the Marshall County Jail. He's currently being held without bond. He had a court hearing Friday to see if he would be eligible to receive bond. Faith Delp shares more from the courthouse.
Manuel Francisco was arrested a few days ago. He had what's called an Anaya's Law hearing, which essentially is bond hearing for people suspected of violent crimes. We are still waiting for the judge to make a decision on his bond. Deputies first began investigating Francisco after they received a report that a minor had given birth on February 19th. Less than a week later, they arrested Francisco. It was revealed in court today that the victim and Francisco are related. Deputies say he is in the U.S. illegally and they are working with Homeland Security to get a detainer. Speaking broadly on protecting children from these kinds of crimes, Marshall County Sheriff Phil Sims told us yesterday that it is important for parents to be involved in their children's lives and to know what they are doing and who they are spending time with. He says it's also important to check their phones and social media. We will keep you updated on the judge's decision when it is made. Reporting in Gunnersville, Faith Delp 48 News, on your side.
Thank you, Faith. And in Huntsville, a capital murder suspect was acquitted for a 2021 killing. A Madison County judge dismissed the case against Tyrell Bradford. 48's Faith Delp was at the courthouse when Bradford was acquitted. She shares more on this story.
I'm in front of the Madison County Jail where Tyrell Bradford walked away a free man just a few hours ago. Bradford and his attorneys have been fighting for this since 2021. They say that this outcome was unexpected, but they are relieved it is over.
Good. God is good.
Bradford thanked God as he walked out of the court with all charges dropped. He had been in the Madison County Jail since being accused of shooting and killing Rashana Brooks in 2021. The state and the defense both rested their case before the judge granted the motion for an acquittal due to lack of evidence presented.
Cases change as they get tried and things happen, and we're just relieved, and we're very happy for our client.
Bradford's attorneys successfully argued during jury selection that an interview done by Huntsville investigator Julian Johnson should not be used as evidence since Johnson was untrustworthy. Bradford's attorneys say it was an emotional ending to a long legal fight.
I don't think anyone expects a motion for a judgment of acquittal to be granted. This is a unique occurrence that almost never happens.
I also reached out to the Madison County District Attorney's Office for a comment about the outcome of today's trial, but I haven't gotten a response back yet. Reporting in Huntsville, Faith Delt 48 News, on your side.
Thank you, Faith. And a Madison County firefighter was arrested and charged with animal cruelty on Wednesday. According to Madison County jail records, Brandon McGill was charged with cruelty to animals. According to the Madison Fire and Rescue's Facebook page, McGill has been a captain with the fire department, but it's unclear if he is still in that position. City officials said McGill has been placed on administrative leave. Huntsville police say McGill turned himself in after a warrant was issued following a report that was filed on February 20th. The city of Madison released a statement saying, quote, "The city of Madison is deeply concerned by the recent violent behavior of a Madison Fire and Rescue employee. This conduct is unacceptable and does not reflect the values Madison Fire and Rescue upholds. As a result, the city of Madison has begun the disciplinary investigation proceedings by placing the individual on administrative leave," end quote. McGill does not have a bond currently set. This is an ongoing investigation. We will keep you updated right here at WAFF 48 as more information becomes available. And on Thursday, the Huntsville City Council delayed their decision on terminating or keeping the police department after 5 officers and an officer's wife were indicted in connection to a 911 dispatcher's death. The council voted to table the vote for a special meeting on March 10th. The meeting will be held at the Huntsville Civic Center. 48's Nick Ballinger was at the meeting and shares more on the council's delayed decision.
Anger.
You're the accountable ones.
Embarrassment.
If you were looking to invest in a city in Alabama, would you come to Huntsville right now?
And tears. All from Huntsville residents after their city's police department was found to be a, quote, threat to public safety and run more like a, quote, criminal enterprise by a grand jury last week.
Get rid of the dirt. Get rid of the fraud.
Many here believe 5 former Huntsville police officers have left a stain on the department after being charged with multiple felonies, including tampering with evidence. The arrests come after a massive corruption investigation that was spurred by the drug overdose death of a 911 dispatcher on the job. City Clerk Tatyana White says employees tried to sound the alarm months ago.
Help was requested 5 months before the dispatch supervisor died.
Lifelong resident Ryan Campbell used the moment to share his encounters with officers.
That officer hit me from behind, which I can't hardly still walk, with his knee, took me to the ground, and beat me mercifully.
The arrests of 5 officers left only 3 remaining in an already small department, and now all have been placed on administrative leave. The council decided to table its decision on the future of the department to allow more time for thought. Majority of the residents don't want Coleman County deputies patrolling their city. They want their department back.
I have yet met the first person that wants to see the police department dismantled.
And the increased responsiveness. That, in the worst of the worst situations, is when you wish you did have a local police department.
I recommend that we keep our police department. Let's keep the revenue in this town. Let's have paying jobs in this town.
Thank you, Nick. Coming up after the break, the latest on the pulse check emails to federal workers, Trump's executive order to make English the U.S. national language, the measles outbreak, fun events to look out for in the Huntsville area this weekend, all that and more when we come back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 48 Recap. In national news, President Trump had a cabinet meeting where he continues to prepare for large-scale federal cuts. Many of these cuts include sending pulse check emails to federal workers. NBC's Alice Barr shares more details from Washington.
President Trump hosting the UK Prime Minister today at the White House as a battle over foreign aid reached the Supreme Court overnight. Chief Justice John Roberts temporarily blocked a lower court's midnight deadline for the Trump administration to release $2 billion in funds frozen since January. Foreign aid groups had sued to continue their work and pay already due vendors. The Supreme Court weighing next steps, asking both sides for more information by tomorrow.
We put together a great cabinet.
In President Trump's first cabinet meeting Wednesday, cuts to USAID took center stage, along with Elon Musk.
With USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption.
What Elon Musk said today was just categorically untrue.
Dr. Craig Spencer, who survived Ebola in 2014, tracks outbreaks around the world and says people who would normally
set up border screening to do the contact tracing on the ground, they're not getting paid.
President Trump defended deep spending cuts as NBC News obtained a new budget office memo giving agency heads 2 weeks to submit plans for mass layoffs.
We're cutting down the size of government. We have to. We're bloated. We're sloppy.
The president and Musk again defending that email directing federal employees to list what they did last week, warning that employees who have not yet replied may still be fired, even as some cabinet members at the table had initially told employees not to respond. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News. Musk described those emails as a pulse check and said if an employee's work is too sensitive to describe, they can say that. That as the White House Chief of Staff fielded questions from Senate Republicans who are hearing growing concerns from their constituents about Musk's approach to government downsizing. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
President Donald Trump is expected to sign an executive order designating English as the official language of the United States. According to a fact sheet about the impending order, the order will allow government agencies and organizations that receive federal funding to choose whether to continue to offer documents and services in language other than English. Trump had been expected to sign the order Friday, but by Friday night, the White House had not announced the order had been signed. The executive order will rescind a mandate from former President Bill Clinton that required the government and organizations that received federal funding to provide language assistance to non-English speakers. And Ukrainian President Zelensky left the White House after a tense confrontation with President Trump and Vice President Vance while meeting in the Oval Office to discuss signing a deal that would give the U.S. some control over rare earth minerals in Ukraine. A White House spokesperson confirmed that Zelensky left the White House without signing the deal. Julie Sirkin shares more details from Washington.
What began as a meeting to discuss a historic peace deal that could have ended the brutal war in Ukraine quickly spiraled into a standoff between President Trump, Ukrainian President Zelensky, and Vice President Vance.
You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
The tense exchange, unprecedented in the Oval Office, the room traditionally reserved for diplomacy, capped off weeks of a public feud between the two leaders.
God bless. God bless.
Zelensky and European allies uneasy that President Trump is inching closer toward Russian President Vladimir Putin, who started the full-scale invasion 3 years ago.
I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world.
The day started amicably, with Trump and Zelensky expected to sign a deal for Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for U.S. support and long-term security.
We have something that is a very fair deal, and we look forward to getting in and digging.
Really, I hope that this first document will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine.
Instead, it appears President Trump scrapping the plan for now, posting on social media, "I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace." Not long after the president's post, Zelensky left the White House at his urging. And earlier this morning, a bipartisan group of senators, including Trump ally Lindsey Graham, met with Ukrainian President Zelensky. After that Oval Office blow-up, Graham said that Zelensky either needs to resign or change his tune if there is any hope of peace for the war-torn country. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
And the latest on the measles outbreak, the outbreak is growing rapidly and has already claimed the life of a child in Texas. WBTS news reporter Michael Rosenfield spoke with medical experts and has their take on the contagious virus.
A resurgence of measles, an outbreak infecting more than 120 people in Texas and claiming the life of a child. The first death from measles in the U.S. in a decade.
We are seeing a very big measles outbreak.
Most of the infected are part of a Mennonite community with low vaccination rates. There are a handful of cases in other states, including one in Rhode Island and one in New York.
Measles is the most contagious virus that we know. When people are not immune to it, it spreads like wildfire.
Dr. Shira Daron, Chief Infection Control Officer at Tufts Medicine Health System, says measles cases do pop up occasionally, but this time it's different.
It's unusual in that we don't see outbreaks every day. We are seeing more measles outbreaks in 2025 already than we typically see. This outbreak is growing very quickly.
The measles vaccine is common for most children and has helped to make the virus rare.
It is a required vaccine in Massachusetts to go to school for this very reason.
Dr. Robin Reisberg, a pediatrician in Boston, says it's critical to urge parents to get their children vaccinated.
We have to remember that there's a lot of science behind vaccines, and we absolutely know they work.
And the cause of a long-running listeria outbreak has finally been determined, and Alabama is one of the states impacted. The CDC and FDA say 38 people have been infected throughout 21 states, and 12 of them have died in the most recent listeria outbreak. Health officials have tied it to Lions Ready Care and Cisco Imperial frozen supplemental shakes. 48 Noah Cowell shares more.
Dr. Wes Stubblefield with ADPH says there's only been one confirmed case in Alabama in the most recent outbreak, but he urges everyone to remain cautious. Since 2018, the FDA has been looking into 3 different listeria outbreaks, but this week they tied them all together and named the suspected culprit. They're blaming Lions Ready Care and Cisco Imperial frozen supplemental shakes. These shakes have been mostly sold to nursing homes across the U.S. Stubblefield urges people, especially those who are young, old, and are pregnant, to avoid expired deli meats and unpasteurized dairy products, and to be wary of the symptoms associated.
Symptoms that for invasive illness would be things like fever, flu-like symptoms, and then if you are developing something like meningitis, which is possible, you would see a headache, stiff neck, and confusion. And for women that are pregnant, the bacteria can actually cross the placenta and infect the fetus and cause severe illness or even miscarriage in the developing fetus.
Stubblefield couldn't comment on how serious the confirmed listeria case in Alabama is, but we do know that person isn't one of the 12 killed. Now, I reached out to multiple nursing homes throughout the Huntsville area today to see if any of them had been distributed those shakes that had listeria in them, but haven't received any comment yet. Reporting in Huntsville, Noah Cowell, 48 News on your side.
Thank you, Noah. And shining a light on a Huntsville artist and Vietnam War veteran who I had the honor to interview this past week, Sergeant Everett Carter. He joined 48 Now to share his experience as a Black soldier and how he helps himself and other veterans navigate personal battles through art. He wanted to remind people that even though there will be hard days that we face, the way we react to hard times makes all the difference. Let's take a listen.
Because every day is going to be different. You know, every day is not going to work out
with gold and silver and platinum. You're gonna have days to where you pick up a brush and it's the brush that you really want, but it's too old.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to go buy another brush or you got to improvise. And so it's something that that grounds me. If I didn't have that, I'd probably be a totally different person. If I didn't have that art connection, I don't think I'd be grounded. So I know when I wake up in the morning, or when my head hits the pillow that night, I know that I've got something that I can cling on to, within myself. So we all need that dream. We all need a dream. We all need I tell young people that come in the studio, I says, I know you got a dream, And I said, it's going to be hard for you to get that dream. I said, but don't let anybody take your dream away from you. I said, because if you start out and society sets you up for failure, and I said, you'll be 45, 50 years old, and I said, you open your closet door and you'll look up and your dream is still in that cardboard box gathering dust. I said, go home, take that dream out of that cardboard box, and you do everything you can do to live it.
Yes. Yes, it was just such an honor speaking to Sergeant Carter. He was such an amazing soul. And to hear more about Sergeant Carter's journey with art therapy, the full 48 Now interview is on our website at WAFF48.com under the Digital Shows tab. And if you are in the Huntsville area, visit him at his studio and check him out, and check out some of his work at Low Mill Arts and Entertainment in Studio 117. And a few stories to look out for coming up in our evening newscast. A Lawrence County man was arrested on child sex abuse charges. The Lawrence County Sheriff's Office says 60-year-old Randall Scott Bumpus was arrested for 50 counts of possession with intent to distribute child sex abuse material. And several fire agencies responded to a fire in Lauderdale County that burned 50 cars. The fire agencies were able to get the fire out in less than an hour. No injuries were reported. And another story to look out for in tonight's newscast, the Monrovia Volunteer Fire Rescue and Alabama Forestry Commission are asking residents to stop burning throughout the weekend due to weather conditions and a wildfire advisory. Lieutenant James Philly says weather conditions are encouraging formation of large outdoor fires, and MVFR units have already responded to multiple outdoor brush fires. And if you are in the Huntsville area this weekend, there are many events happening in the area that you should check out, especially if you are looking for a way to celebrate the Mardi Gras season. There will be Mardi Gras at the camp in Mid-City. They are giving the whole Mardi Gras experience with New Orleans cuisine, Mardi Gras drinks, beads, decorations, and much more. There is no cover charge, and it is a pet-friendly event. This event is going on until 11 tonight. And in downtown Huntsville, there will be a Mardi Gras parade all throughout this afternoon. There will be live music, local vendors, and festive cocktails. And be aware that several streets in downtown Huntsville will be closed today due to all of the Mardi Gras celebrations. Police say the closures began at 2:30 p.m. before the parade, which is set to start soon at 3:30 at the intersection of Meridian Street and Cleveland Avenue. City officials say the parade will travel along Meridian Street, Monroe Street, Washington Street, Eastside Square, Eustis Avenue, Green Street, and it will end at the Lumber Yard parking lot. The throw zone for beads will be from Washington Street and Holmes Avenue to Green Street and Eustis Avenue. And I had the pleasure to sit down with the founder of the Alabama Fashion Alliance, Alina Lejeune, and one of the lead hairstylists, Troy Nixon. They joined me on 48 Now to talk about their journey in the fashion industry and preparing for the 2025 Fet Gala pre-launch celebration event being held for Alabama's Fashion Week. The 2025 Fet Gala pre-launch celebration event is tonight from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the University of Alabama in Huntsville College of Business Grand Foyer. Take a listen to what they had to say about the event.
Well, since it's the pre-launch, is really an introduction to the whole vision of what's going to be. Now, you only heard it here, but the New York Met Gala is the first weekend in May, or it runs into the first weekend in May. So we're doing an official Fet Gala in May. And so we really wanted people to come out and be introduced to this new concept of doing Fashion Week, because they're just used to coming for a runway show. But we wanted to expand it. Well, my vision was to expand it to make it more of a holistic experience. Like people could see the model moving in the clothes, and they could touch the fabrics for the live models doing the fashion exhibit. People can look at a mannequin and see all the artistry, whether it's simplistic or whether it's complex, and cultivate a appreciation for the art of fashion and design, because it's a very competitive and difficult field to be in. It is the reason I think that we've been able to stay around for this long, because it's needed. People need that support. People need that cheerleader that say, you can do it, come on. And they need platforms. And why not? AFA creates these platforms for them to come out and be showcased and feel good and proud. And hopefully it will propel them forward and not be more discouraged in their own whole working, but nobody knows that they are doing this amazing work. They get to see that they're doing amazing work, and they're right here in Huntsville. Right?
Yes, so please go and check out and attend this amazing event if you can. Attendees are encouraged to dress to impress for the runway show of the event. And tickets are $65 and can be purchased through the link in the Alabama Fashion Alliance Instagram and Facebook page bios. And to hear more about the Alabama Fashion Alliance and Alina and Troy's fashion journey, the full 48 Now interview is on our website at WAFF48.com under the Digital Shows tab. That's all I have today for the 48 recap. Let's check out some of the Saturday snapshots people submitted today. First, we have this photo submitted by someone in Coleman. They said, quote, "Nice day today in Coleman, Alabama. It is 58 degrees and it feels good. A blue day," end quote. I think that this is beautiful, even though it's like a simple blue photo. We are getting storms next week here, so we're definitely all enjoying this nice scenery before we get those storms and the tornado activity and all that going on. So this is nice. I love the weather. It's perfect because it's not freezing, it's not too hot, just right. So thank you so much for submitting this photo. And now we have a photo that was submitted by Heath Knox. They said, quote, "Me, my boyfriend and daughter enjoyed the sun by playing in the creek." And I absolutely love that. What a better way to spend your Saturday afternoon than just being out in the nature, enjoying the creek. I definitely need to get outside more, so thank you for sharing this. And it looks like that is all we have today for the 48 recap. And it looks like many of you are already having a wonderful weekend so far. Go out if you are in the Huntsville area and just enjoy these Mardi Gras events. They all sound great. Go to the fashion show, the Fet Gala, and just have a wonderful weekend and continue having a great weekend. And thank you for everyone that submitted these photos for Saturday Snapshots. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you all for tuning into the first episode of the 48 recap. I will see you all next Saturday, and I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend.